everyone! So today I have a tutorial for you all on a purple and copper eye, something that's a little bit more glammed up than I usually do, a little less natural than what I usually do. It's using mostly Senegence products and a few of my other favourites as well. So I am going to get started. So first of all, I have all of my skincare done already, but I'm going to put a little bit of the eye illuminator from Senegence on. I'm just going to dab that under my eyes. That actually just helps to brighten up the eye area without looking overly sparkly. And this one is also an anti-aging eye cream as well, which is a bonus. So today I want a little bit of a sheen to my skin because the shadows that I'm using are mostly matte. So I'm going to be using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. And this one just has a really nice kind of subtle glow to it. It doesn't look overly sparkly. Now you can get a similar effect to this using the Senegence Pearlizer, but I find it's got a bit more of a sheen to it than this does, and I like the way that this primer holds. There we go, and I just blended that in using a Marc Jacobs flat top brush. I'm going to use my favorite foundation at the moment, the Senegence Make Sense CC Tinted Moisturizer. This one's in light, and I just use that all over my face. This one gives a really nice coverage and also helps to cancel out redness. I'm just blending that with my Marc Jacobs brush. And I'm going to be using my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye as my concealer. The reason I'm using this is because I want to keep that dewy look to my skin, and I find that the Shadow Sense when I use that as a concealer is a little bit more matte. So I'm just using this one, and I'm going to use that just under the eyes and just around my nose. I want to keep the skin looking fairly natural because the eyes will be quite full on. And I'm just blending that in with the Real Techniques setting brush. For blush, I'm going to take a little bit of Mulberry Shadow Sense. I'm just going to dot that on my cheeks. I'm going to be using this colour on my eyes today as well, but this one works really nicely as a blush. And I'm just blending that in with a MAC 139. Now today for powder, because I want my skin to still retain a little bit of that glow, I'm going to use my La Prairie powder. This one doesn't have a sheen to it, but it doesn't look totally matte the way that the Senegence powder does. So I'm just using that. Now the La Prairie powder is actually quite expensive. If you are looking for something that's a little more cost effective, I do highly recommend the Senegence powder. I find the Senegence powder sets things really well. I just find it quite matte. The La Prairie is a really beautiful powder, but it is very, very expensive. You get a lot in the container, but it is a lot of outlay for a powder, like up in the hundreds. I think it might be $198. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but I think that it's really quite expensive for a powder, but it does leave the skin looking quite beautiful and it doesn't look super matte. It keeps the skin quite hydrated. If you have oily skin, highly recommend something that is a lot more matte like the Senegence powder. Now for my brows, I'm just going to take Mocha Java and Smoked Topaz Shadow Scents from Senegence. I'm just going to mix those ones together on an Anastasia brush, and I'm just going to use that as my brow colour. And the ratio I use for that is 2 parts of the Mocha Java, 1 part of the Smoked Topaz, and that gives me a really nice brow colour. Just mixing that on a palette. By using Shadow Scents for brows, I get a really bulletproof brow that doesn't fade or come off during the day. You could even go swimming with these brows on and they wouldn't come off. There we go, and I'm just blending with the spoolie. Now for eyes, I'm going to start out with that Mulberry Shadow Scents. I'm just going to apply that all over the lid. And I'm going to blend that in using a MAC 242. And then I'm going to use Amethyst, which is just this kind of purple tone. I'm going to use that on the outer and inner corner, on the top and the bottom. And just blending with that same brush. And just taking it under the eye. And what I'm trying to achieve here is just a slight strip of that mulberry in the middle there, which is where we're going to apply a little bit of a copper colour. Okay, so I'll take this amethyst up through the crease as well. I'm also going to take my NARS blending brush and I'm just going to blend out that crease too. I'm going to take some more of that colour and pop that underneath. And I'll pop a little bit more on top to blend it and build it up. Okay, and just applying a little bit more of that colour to the inner corner and blending with that same brush. And then into the crease. Now to deepen that up, I'm actually going to use a mixture of Cherry Blush Scents and Onyx Shadow Scents, and I'm going to use those mixed together to create a purple colour. Doing that using an Inglot lip brush, but this actually works really well for kind of detail, and that's created a really kind of dark purple there. I'm going to use that in the outer portion here, just to create a little bit more shape. I'm going to blend that using my same MAC 242. And just keep building that up until you're happy with the colour. I'm going to do a little bit of that on the inner corner as well. Okay, and once I've built the lids up to a depth that I want, I'll just pop some underneath the eye. Go, and I'm just blending with my 242 just to blend it out a little. I'm just going to take my NARS blending brush and just blend the crease out there, just to make sure I've got no harsh lines. I'm going to take a little bit of that leftover black, just on the same brush. I'm just going to pop that along the outer part of the lash line. And I'm just deepening that up again. And blending again. The trick to this look is by building up slowly and not starting with a lot of product and then trying to blend it out. And I'm just taking whatever is left over on the brush and I'm just popping it under the eyes as well. I'm just going to take some of the Copper Rose Shimmer Shadow Scents from Senegence, and I'm just using that on a MAC 228. I'm just going to pop that in the middle of the lid. Which creates that amazing shine. Now I'm just taking a little bit of product and just blending it out, just in little dabbing motions. Then I'll build it up. And I'm just going to pop that in the equivalent place under the eye as well, just underneath. And with that copper on the lid, I want the concentration to be most concentrated at the lash line. Now we're not going to use any liner with this look because we don't want to cover up that concentration of that copper colour. These colours go really nicely together. They're just nice and contrasting. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that Onyx Shadow Scents and I'm going to use that to line the inside of my eyes. And for mascara, I'm going to take my Underscents with my Dior Iconic Overcurl. I'm just going to apply the Underscents first. This really helps to prime and build up the lashes. I'm taking my mascara. For my lips, I'm going to take First Love Lip Sense, which is my absolute favourite nude, and I'm going to pop on 3 layers of that. Lip Sense should always be applied in 3 layers. It just helps it stay on the best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that a really good shake. And I'm going to take a little bit of Witch Hazel on a cotton pad. Lip Sense should always be applied to clean, dry lips, so I'm going to make sure that my lips are really clean and dry. There we go, and keep shaking. Okay, and I'm going to apply this in 3 thin layers. So I'm just going to wipe off the applicator on the sides to make sure that I don't have too much product and that my layers are really thin, especially with matte colors like this. This is a really pigmented matte color, so you want to make sure that you apply nice thin coats of this one. And applying all in one direction. There we go. Now I'm going to wait for that to dry in between. And now the second coat. And let that one dry. And the third and final coat. And I'm keeping my lips nice and stretched out while that coat dries. Okay, and I'm going to take my glossy gloss. As you can see, I've got a nice white wand and just applying that over the top. And as you can see, there is nothing on that wand. It just blows my mind every single time. And I think I say that every single time as well. But I love this color. It's a really nice kind of nude. It's one of those colors that's really, really popular at the moment. It's kind of similar to MAC Velvet Teddy, maybe a cross between that and Pure Zen, which are two of my absolute favorite MAC colors. But this one stays on and it doesn't dry out my lips. I prefer for my colors to be glossy instead of matte, but there is a matte gloss as well that you can put over the top that keeps it nice and matte as well. But I love this color and I love these two colors together. I'm going to take my hair down. There we go. So you can get the full idea of what this look is like. There we go. So that is my tutorial for today on this kind of purple and copper halo eye. It just has that really nice pop of shine in the center, and because we've only used the darker color on the outside, that center part there has a lot of light, and it also has a lot of kind of brightness that makes that part of the eye stand out. I really like how the eye kind of ties in with the lip, because the cheek color was very similar to the lip color as well. But yeah, I hope you guys like this. Let me know what you think. I hope that you're enjoying these tutorials, and I'd love to hear what you'd like to see. A link to my Facebook page is in the down bar. If you like any of these products, you can actually purchase them from me if you're in Australia. So check out the page. I always post pictures of my makeup during the day, and I've got lots of pictures of different lip colors and everything, because these lip colors, they don't come off, which is awesome. They're really, really good if you work long days and things like that. And it's the same with the shadows as well. They're all crease proof and budge proof too, so they don't come off either. If you like any of the products, check out my Facebook page from the link down below. And I hope you guys like this tutorial, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye bye.